Hello everyone, I'm Mandy Lockley and welcome to On Purpose Astrology. And today I'm going to be talking at and around the new moon in Aquarius on February the 9th. I'm recording this on February the 7th. And as we go into this new moon, we're coming through a period of the last week or the last week or two, so late January, early February, that's been very intense, also potentially frustrating, also potentially anger has been coming up, feelings of sort of anger coming up. Certainly, this has been my experience and the experience of people around me. And I also do tune into the vibrations generally that are sort of out there in the collective. And I've seen this kind of anger and frustration, this intensity building up, which it's probably been quite difficult for some of you. If you can resonate with this, if you can't, just ignore this of what I'm saying. And I am going to talk specifically about some of the themes of this new moon in a minute. If you can resonate with this, I think what might have been quite difficult is that as we go into the new moon, the lead up to the new moon, a week or so before the moon is waning in light. It's getting darker. It's the dark of the moon. It's the darkest part of the moon is just before the new moon, really, because straight after the new moon, the light starts to grow again and we can see more and we can move forward more. But that rest and that retreat and that sense of finding some stillness is what we really need. I think the moon is about what we really need in the run up to a new moon. And for some of us, I think it's been difficult to find that. So hopefully, if you can around this new moon, particularly if you're feeling a bit fatigued, even exhausted, just a bit tired, a bit weary, please take the time if you can, possibly make some time if you have to just rest and sort of decompress. Breathe into your heart space. Feel your emotions in your heart space and just breathe into it and ground yourself and just kind of find some stillness. Meditation is very good for this. Nature is very good for this, of course. I say breathe into your heart space because it's how you center yourself. And the sun and the moon are conjunct together at the new moon, of course, and your sun, the sun in astrology is rules the heart, basically, the center of you, who you are at your heart and your purpose. So if you're feeling like you've kind of gone off purpose, if you're feeling as if you've kind of feel like you've lost direction or you're not making progress, take heart and just take this stillness, find the stillness wherever you can, find the rest and the relaxation wherever you can during this period. I'm recording this on the 7th of February. So let's have a look at the new moon or the 9th of February. Let me share the chart for you so you can see this. So there you can see it. It's at 20 degrees and 40 minutes of Aquarius. I've circled it there in house 4 on the chart set for London. I always set it for London because that's where I live. It'll be in most likely be in a different house in your chart or chart for the country that you're in. As I always say in these videos, you can get, if you don't know your own chart, you can download a free one from astro.com, for example, and you can see where Aquarius falls in your chart, and then you can see what area of life this new moon will affect. For example, 4th house here is about home, it's about your roots, for example. And then the 10th house is about career, etc., etc., the 7th relationships, and so on and so on. As always, I'll put the link to my very brief section of a video where I talk about the houses, which are basically areas of life. So anything that falls safe in your 4th house, the area of life it will affect will be things to do with home and roots and that kind of thing. As I say, it's the 9th of February, quite late into the evening, just before 11 p.m. in London. In Pacific time, US Pacific time, it's about 3 p.m., just before 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And if you're in Australia, for example, if you're in Melbourne, it'll be on the 10th of February, around about 10 p.m. 10 a.m., sorry, 10 a.m., not 10 p.m. So first of all, before we talk about some of the aspects for this new moon, that the aspects, the combinations of planets that come together around this new moon at this time, because we've got such strong Aquarius energy, Sun and Moon in Aquarius, Mercury also in Aquarius. We see Pluto in Aquarius there, of course, which was in January. And very soon, before the end of February, we'll have Mars also in Aquarius, and eventually we'll have Venus in Aquarius too. So we're still in very strong energy of Aquarius. So here are some Aquarius themes. And of course, the intensity of the Aquarius themes is extra because of Pluto moving into Aquarius. Whenever a outer planet, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and some of the dwarf planets, which I hope to be incorporating a lot more into my work going forward. I'm currently on a huge learning curve on the dwarf planets, and I've got already a couple of videos about them. There'll be more to come. Anyway, whenever the outer planets, also the dwarf planets, Pluto is actually a dwarf planet as well. It never used to be, but that's another story. It's a dwarf planet too. But whenever these big outer planets go into a new sign, it always intensifies all the themes of that planet, and it intensifies all the themes of the sign that that planet is in. So what is Aquarius theme? Well, it's group activities, it's collaboration, it's community, it's freedom and independence. Aquarius likes to have freedom and independence. It's a futuristic sign, so it's looking to the future. And there's the first clue for this Aquarian new moon, which of course also coincides with the Chinese Lunar New Year. So we can, if we are vibing with that, we can set the intention for the year ahead. We can certainly set the intention for the month ahead because it's future oriented. We always talk about planning and setting intentions, planting seeds, if you like, for the new moon. So time to really reflect and set your intentions. In terms of more collective things, Aquarius stands for science and technology, aviation, and I would include in that space travel. We're already seeing lots more as Aquarius, the Pluto and Aquarius has been coming in. You know, we've been feeling the energy before it even changed signs, really, as it, you know, we were getting to the end days of Pluto in Capricorn. Space travel has been more on the agenda. I would also add, and I haven't seen much of this coming through, but I would also add astral travel. You know, when people are able to leave their body to astral travel, to go to other places in space, or, you know, remote viewing. It's an air sign, Aquarius. So we might see those kind of things, more and more people getting interested in, say, astral travel, remote viewing, and maybe even science testing it or using it, or coming out more in the open about that this is something that we do know that a lot of governments do, for example, have done remote viewing, have used so-called remote viewers who can psychically see, go to other places psychically and see what's going on there. That's something interesting. We shall see. I might be wrong, but it's something I'm certainly interested in for Pluto and Aquarius. Also, I'm very interested in the idea of consciousness. What's consciousness? You know, already when we talk about science and technology, we talk about we can watch things in the news. And one of the stories that's come out recently is biotech into someone's brain, so that their thoughts can create actions in the world. And, you know, could be revolutionary for people who, you know, might be disabled in some way. So that's something to watch as well. I'm going to be doing a series soon. The first episode of a series of Pluto in Aquarius Watch, where I'm going to be mentioning some of the things that are happening in the collective, in the world, and in the news that really reflect revelations about Pluto and Aquarius. So watch this space. People power. That's another one for Aquarius. We've had Pluto in Capricorn, which is about those who traditionally hold power. The people run the big companies, the people that run the world, the people that are in head, you know, positions in politics, for example, the rulers, the traditional authority. Aquarius is about people power, the common people. So we'll see a lot more themes about the common people, people coming into their own power. Again, I won't say too much about that because I'm going to do a little video showing you some of the news stories that have come up that really already are showing that people power really coming through and actually starting to work. So Pluto in Aquarius aside, focus on this new moon in Aquarius. It is square to Uranus in Taurus. You can see Uranus, I have circled that there in house 7. So really this new moon is going to be intense. I've talked already about intensity. It's going to be intense if you have anything in the fixed signs from around about 17, 18, all the way up to about 22, maybe even 23 of the fixed signs, particularly Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, and also Scorpio. So have a look at your chart and you see, you know, if you do have anything in your chart at those degrees of the fixed signs, you are having a longer term Uranus transit anyway. So you'll be able to relate to that idea of feeling revved up, feeling charged, feeling almost electrical, you know, that electrical energy, you know, almost like you are fired up and you want change, or because it's a fixed square, there might be resistance to change. So things might be unpredictable, things might be changing, and you don't really particularly want things to change. And again, that can cause that stress. But the short-term transit is, of course, this new moon square, this Uranus. So unpredictability, generally around this time, unpredictability. Try if you can to see things objectively, objective thought. You know, this is an Aquarius thing, trying to see things objectively. I don't think we can ever really see things objectively, but I think you kind of know what I'm trying to say. What do you need to release and let go of? What do you need to change? You know, what do you look at that you don't like, and how would you like to change that during this time in terms of your needs, your emotions, in terms of also how you are going forward with your purpose. Going forward, I've already talked about this is a good time to start setting intentions for the month ahead, even maybe the year ahead. Where are you rebelling? You know, is it pointless rebellion? Are you rebelling just for the sake of it? There's a real sense of when Uranus is strong, particularly if you're having that Uranus transit I've just talked about, if you've got anything very tight to these particular degrees of the fixed signs I've already mentioned, there's that idea of Uranus is the danger sometimes of Uranus is throwing the baby out with bathwater, which means you're throwing the good away with the bad because of that need to change. Because this is a fixed square, there's a determination to follow through and get things done. So the decisions that you make, the intentions that you set during this new moon, make sure that these intentions come from the best and highest place that you can, that they are really changes that you need to make rather than just reactionary changes. Because, you know, there is a reaction to, there's a rebellion that comes with Uranus potentially sometimes. And, you know, we can protest stuff too much, as they say. So there can also be with Aquarius an alienation from feelings as well. So sometimes when actions come up that, you know, if you're having having unpredictable reactions yourself, then perhaps it might be time to sort of go within and do that breathing into your heart and take some time out to just try and get in touch with your feelings if you can. So the other thing that is interesting for this new moon is that Mercury in Aquarius here is in a square to Jupiter. Mercury is in the 4th house here and Jupiter is in the 7th house. I haven't circled them here, but you can see they are at 7 degrees is the Mercury in Aquarius, and then 8 degrees is the Jupiter and Taurus. And it's applying, which means that Mercury is moving closer to that exact square with Jupiter. Well, what does this mean? Well, independent thought. You know, Aquarius is a independent sign. It's a sign of independence. And Mercury is about thought and your mindset. So there's some optimism here in this chart because it's Jupiter, even though it's a square. So there's the opportunity for wisdom, wisdom to trump dogmatism. You know, there's a lot of dogmatism in the world at the moment. You know, this is the way it is because we're talking another fixed square. So fixed squares can be, you know, that dogmatic. This is, you know, this is the direction I'm going in. I'm not going to change that, and I'm not going to change my views and my ideas and my mindset. But there's, but Jupiter gives us that potential to apply wisdom to that as well. Wisdom through experience, wisdom through almost embodying your feelings and your experiences. And what I mean by that is going within and feeling your body, feeling your breath, and feeling your feet to ground yourself. And I say that because Jupiter is in Taurus, which is a very strong earthy sign, that's sensual sign as well. So optimism here in terms of, you know, mindset, being able to apply wisdom, an expanded vision and expanded thinking as well at this time is also possible. You know, overthinking perhaps potentially, an overflow of communication, intellectuality, of course, because you're Aquarius can be very intellectual. You know, as I also said, that kind of goes on from that thing I said about objectivity. Do consider the emotional impact of the words that you use to others as well. Now, on the 14th of February, so moving on a few days from the new moon, we have Mars is in Aquarius by then, and it conjuncts Pluto. So there's a sense of decisiveness, decisiveness to bring changes that you might need, the elimination of obstacles, even if we're being really positive about Mars conjunct Pluto, the purging of anger through action, because Pluto likes to purge things, to let go of things, strong desires. It's a potential to be difficult or violent, and we might see some of these things in the world. Mars, Pluto, it can be quite incendiary, but we have the potential also to transmute the more difficult energies of Mars, Pluto, to raise the vibration. Remember what I said earlier about Aquarius and humanitarianism, about working for the collective, about people power. It gives energy to all those cool and good things about Aquarius. So I hope that this is interesting. I hope it's helpful. Please do, if you're feeling any kind of difficult emotions, do take the rest and the break that you need. Now is the time during this new moon period, this run up to this new moon period and immediately after the new moon period, because it's already been an intense, fast paced year, and we're only sort of, you know, into the second week of February, and we've got a whole year of this intensity. It really is going to be quite intense, which means there is potential there for lots of good. Pluto shows us the shadow. So it might show us the shadow. Pluto in Aquarius will show us the shadow of people power, even the shadow of revolutions, of protest groups, and all this kind of thing. And it can make us think that there is a lot of bad in the world. We saw that idea of very bad in the world in terms of the traditional authoritarian institutions, the corruption, for example. Pluto shows us these things so that we can transmute them, so that we can purge them, so that we can bring them to light. So as a collective, we can heal them. So again, the difficult things that come up both personally or that come up both in the collective and in the collective consciousness are there to be shown to us, to let us, or to invite us to look at the shadow. And it's up to all of us individually just to be able to learn how to transmute the more difficult energies of the planet alignments to the higher energies, the higher vibrations, like I talked about, sort of positive activism, say we're talking, for example, about this when Mars is conjunct Pluto, positive activism really helps a cause, which really helps humanitarian, really helps humanity, really helps the common people, putting your energy into that. I really hope that you have a good new moon season. And for those of you that are celebrating, very happy Chinese Lunar New Year. And thank you very much to my new subscribers and my older subscribers. I'm growing slowly, which is lovely to see. Do subscribe if you want to, so that you can't miss future videos. I love you all and take care. Lots of love. Bye bye.